Hey guys, today I'll be trying something new. I've always been interested in trying to make one of these videos, and I think that today will be a good start for that. So now, of course, just a little bit about me. I'm really into geography, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So the first thing today I'm going to be talking about is wars. Yeah, very fun, right? Mainly, I'm going to be talking about probably one of the next large wars in Africa. Now, as you can probably guess, it's going to be between one of these countries. Now, it's actually going to be between Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. So, bum, bum, bum. These three. Okay. So, babe, you might be asking, well, why? What, these countries don't really look like they have any border disputes. Like, you can see Sudan, South Sudan, obviously, that's a real mess. Like Central African Republic and Civil War, all that kind of stuff. Well, so why these three countries in general? Well, it all comes down to two things: international backing and water scarcity. Now, I know, right? Water scarcity is such a fun topic to talk about, but when you really get into it, it's quite fun. So, the main point of contention is the Nile. The Nile is a very famous river. It is contested to be one of the longest rivers in the world, with the Amazon River, and is the lifeblood for Egypt. Now, just looking at the map, you can see the obvious outline of the Nile from following the green areas. Now, I'm pretty sure the statistics are like 90% of Egypt's population, or 98%, something crazy like that, lives along the Nile. Now, of course, that is a very important thing for Egypt, right? Yes. But Egypt is not the only country with the Nile. Since they are most famous for it, because of their ancient kingdoms, countries like Sudan, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Uganda get overlooked for being part of the Nile. Now, if we follow the Nile along, we can see it goes into the border with Sudan, goes down, up, around, and gets to Khartoum, which is the capital of Sudan. Now, just as we zoom into Khartoum, we can see that the Nile splits off into two different areas. Now, this is currently the Nile. Down here is the White Nile, which then feeds off into South Sudan and Uganda, then going somewhere into Lake Victoria and other undisputed um, lakes. And the second one, of course, would be the Blue Nile, I think. Oh, is this? Now let's just call it Blue Nile. Yeah, Blue Nile. Now, the Blue Nile runs all the way down from Sudan and into Ethiopia. Now, as you can see, there's a major difference between countries like Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. This area of largely green land. Now, if I just outline it for you, it kind of borders that kind of area, right? And now, this isn't really seen in Egypt, as it's a very dry and hot climate that relies on the water. So, what's actually happening is that Ethiopia, backed by our Chinese overlords, joking, love you China, um, is really just developing and becoming a better, bigger, more industrialized country. Uh, Currently in Addis Ababa, a massive monorail system is being made. If you just zoom in here, that's just a train stop, not a monorail, but you get the point. There's massive, like $300 million projects being funded by, well, Eastern countries like China. Now, what else is happening, and in Ethiopia, is that they're starting to build dams. Now, one of the major dams is right here on the Bamese, and it's on the Blue Nile River. Currently, it is still in construction, but as I zoom out, you can see this feeds into the Nile. Now, you may be thinking, well, what's the big problem with this? They can just get all their water from this other Nile. Like South Sudan looks pretty green. Shouldn't they be getting water? Actually, wrong. Only 20% of the total Nile's water flow comes from the South Sudan, even though, comes from the White Nile, even though it's the longest stretch. The shorter stretch, stretching into Ethiopia or the Blue Nile, actually accounts for 80% of the total water flow down the main Nile. Now, this is mainly due to the large basins and hilly areas of Ethiopia, with a large rain basin culminating here and flowing down. So what ended up happening, or what's going to end up happening, is that 80% of the water during the construction of the dam is going to be blocked. So actually, the problem isn't the dam itself, it's the construction. As you can see, you have to stop the water flow to start building the dam. Now, the water flow can be regulated when the dam's already there. So this can give you be able to this can give Ethiopia the power to make artificial floods and stuff down here, because Egypt relies on the water flow for flooding and stuff. As you see, this is all green because of the yearly floods. But when the dam is being built, they have to dam off that water. So 80% of the water flow from the Nile is not going to come into here. Now, of course, this will stop most of the water flow and stop the flooding. Now, in Egypt, this is going to cause massive hunger due to food not growing from the water, no water, and just basically a bad time for Egypt. So Egypt's like, hey, Ethiopia, don't do that. But Ethiopia's like, nah, because this is going to power, like, I think 300 million people. So, like, Ethiopia, let's just see how many. Quick fact check. How many people do you have? You have 109 million. So that means it can basically give power to most of East Africa. And so you might be thinking, well, Sudan's got to be in this too, because they own that part of the Nile. Well, actually, in a cruel turn of events, Sudan and Ethiopia have made like kind of a agreement with each other, where Ethiopia will export some of that power to Sudan, as long as they don't get angry over Ethiopia. So now it's basically 2 against 1. So we've got Ethiopia and their dam against, and with Sudan, who they're giving the power from the dam to, as well as some other nations, against Egypt. Right? So there's been talks about it being very aggressive, and they've basically been saying. Also, there's another like these contested regions up here. They're not very like military contested. They're more just map-based contention. It's not really much to deal with. But that's also another point of conflict between Sudan, Ethiopia, and Egypt. Yeah, this also is happening in areas. There's like a famous example somewhere down here in the Gambia. So as you can see, the Gambia's water actually comes from rivers in Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, and I think Mali as well. And now what they did is they came together, made a pact to say that we will have a fair use of this river, and this river will be fair land. Well, this isn't happening over in East Africa. Egypt and Sudan and Ethiopia, they have not been cooperating at all. It's just terrible, and yeah, they're definitely going to go to war. I don't know, just thought it was cool. If you don't like the video, just say it down below. If you like the video, you can also say that down below in the comments. I'm talking about, not like, there's nothing actually below me except for my keyboard. You can't really type anything on my keyboard. I can type on my keyboard. Anyway, this will be interesting. I might make a few more of these if it's well accepted. Probably not going to be. Not much of these anyway. Well, yeah. Thanks for stopping by, and just look out for Ethiopia and see what happens. And also, they might be going into like some kind of civil conflict in the future, but that's a whole nother can of worms. Yeah. Just thought I'd try something different. Have a nice day. It's not.